The spiritual tool market is enormous. There are crystal kits and moon phase planners and oracle decks for every type of aesthetic out there. And everyone online has very strong opinions about what you absolutely must do to have this work for you. I've been a psychic medium and intuitive teacher for years, and some things I reach for every single week, the tools that I use that really resonate with me, and some things I picked up once and I truly do appreciate, but they haven't resonated. And some things are being sold to you in a way that's more about the product than the actual practice. And then there are things that have their own language that's just not my language. So today I'm giving you my honest take, unsponsored, about the tools that I actually use, the ones that I will teach but don't use on a daily basis, and the ones that I have put down and never picked up again. There's no gatekeeping here, no judgment from me, just what's true to me and hopefully something that's useful for you. I'm Emily Snyder of Connected Intuition. I'm an intuitive teacher and psychic medium for pets and people. Let's get into it. This is my pendulum, and she has an attitude. And I don't mean in the metaphorical sense of like she's got an attitude. I mean, she gives me flavor. A really fast big yes when the answer is obvious, and a slow, reluctant no that sometimes turns into something that dissolves into nothing. It feels more like, I mean maybe, but I want to say no, but I'm not quite sure. I'll give you an example. At a recent group meeting, I was using this pendulum, and someone asked, should I move? And I think she was expecting no, but I got yes, 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 and the pendulum was swinging yes in the counterclockwise way, which is my own yes. The woman's jaw dropped, and she, I think, had maybe been thinking about it, but did not want to leave New York City, and so the response was a little jarring. Moving was not in her bingo card, but it made complete sense financially, and somewhere, I think she probably knew it on the inside that that was a possibility and maybe the right one for her. And so the pendulum gave it to me with attitude. Then another woman in the audience asked, should I get a puppy for my older dog? And I swear the pendulum gave me the slowest, most deliberate no I have ever witnessed. It was almost like an eye roll in the energy. Like it was exhausted by the question, which I guess I get with an older dog. It was a no, like she should have known. What is actually happening with the pendulum? My take is that it's a channel for the guidance to come through from spirit. It's a way for your guides to give you clear, physical, unambiguous in most cases, answers when your analytical mind is loud and trying to kind of take over. When do I reach for my pendulum? When I go into group readings. It's a very useful tool to get answers very fast and fun. You can ask any question that's a yes or a no and get an answer from my very opinionated pendulum. The second reason I pull it is for myself. Sometimes it's hard to get a yes or no or like really confirm for yourself that what you're seeing, hearing, or feeling is true, and the pendulum can be a little bit of a double check for you. Calibrate it first. So you want to ask a yes or no question that you know the answer to already. So like my name is Emily and it should say yes to you. So that will show you the yes. And then a no question that you know the answer to. I am a dolphin. No, I'm not a dolphin. So it should show you the no. Over time, it's possible that your pendulum will also have a little bit of an attitude, but you should be able to tell the difference between a clear yes and a clear no. Don't ask the pendulum the same question 6 times over. That's pestering that energy, and you will get the same answer, but it kind of becomes like a repetitive thing, like, why are we answering you? So just be respectful of the pendulum's energy and your spirit guide's time and ask it once a day at most. The pendulum is a direct line to a yes and a no and to your spirit guides. Sometimes it cuts through the noise of what's going on. It also helps when your own emotions take over. It's a great tool in my toolbox, so to speak. Oracle decks are also part of my regular practice. Occasionally, I use them in client meetings, but I often use them with friends and a lot of times with myself. The deck I reach for most frequently with readings for other people is this Prism Oracle deck. I love that the cards have solid colors and a singular word. I find that the drawings are also simple, and for me, that is just enough to get my mind out of the way and let my intuition come through either the words, the color, or the drawing, or the combination of all three. I seem to get really, really good readings for others when I use this deck. I would recommend this for anybody who likes minimalism or who is on their way to an intuitive or psychic reading practice on their own. On the flip side, when I'm working for myself, I usually pick up this Nature's Whispers deck. The reason being, there's a little bit more explanation here. So if I'm working on myself and I'm having a hard time kind of understanding what's going on in my own life, this one has a multi-layered answer for you. So there's a beautiful image, a couple of different words, and then the book itself has a longer explanation that I have found really helps me kind of think through the problem, the situation, etc. So this is one where if I'm going to pull a card a day, this is the deck I reach for. If I'm looking for something that's a deeper dive, so let's say I've got lots of time or a really complex problem, or I want to do a 6-month read on my life, I have started to really love this Black Moon astrology deck. Now, it is dense. There are lots of cards, lots of meanings, and it ties back to astrology, a language I don't particularly understand in full. I feel like some of the layouts in there are complex and help me think through long-term, bigger size issues. What I love about oracle decks in general, as opposed to tarot though, which we'll get to in a minute, is that they're open. It's not a fixed system with fixed meanings necessarily, and a lot of the best decks give you multiple meanings for the same cards, and it's really about pulling out what speaks to you in that moment. But a good oracle deck reading isn't this card means X and that's it. It's what is it bringing up? What are the bits and pieces you can take home? What about right now? What about the future, the context of the questions, etc. Additionally, when the cards are giving you kind of a starting point and then you're able to hear, see, or feel additional information, that's your intuition adding to the card. The card is just unlocking what's already there. If this is your first time with the Oracle deck, I would go to a card store or a bookstore, something that has multiple decks, and see what speaks to you. It may not be the first one you buy. You may have to try out a couple for different circumstances, but just pull one card in the morning and see what resonates. As you read through the description that the booklet is giving you, you can pull out the words that really resonate with you. You can also just look at the card and sense what it's supposed to be saying to you. All of those are the right way to work with an oracle deck. Let's talk about burning stuff. Witch energy. It's full of it. I love it. I think it works. And not for necessarily like magical reason, but for very real reason. My personal favorite of burning stuff is a bay leaf with a dollar amount written on it. What does that do? It brings in the abundance of what you're asking for. When you burn it, you're saying, I mean it, and then I'm letting it out into the universe and letting it go. But the reason why I like this ritual, and I'm not a very ritualistic person, but the reason why I like this one is there's something so solid about writing something down that forces you to make it concrete in your mind. If you have vague intentions, they stay vague with you. So the act of writing it down makes it super specific and it makes it real, which also makes it possible for you to actually just let it go and have it come back to you in the universe. For me, also, the burning completes something. There's a reason that humans have used fires and rituals across every culture for thousands of years. Your body does understand the finality of watching something physically transform into dust. The fire does what the fire does, and you walk away feeling lighter. Okay, let's talk about smudging with a little tiny caveat here. I sage my home, and I have for years. I burn herbs, not just sage, but many. And I know that it works because of my husband. He will walk into our house after I have saged, not while it's happening, not while there's literally burning smells in the air, but after I've aired the whole thing out and he's been gone for hours, and he'll come in and say, unprompted, something feels different in here. It feels like lighter. What'd you do? Did you sage again? And this has happened so many times that I know that there's a change in the energy of our house. It's not because of the smell, it's because of what the space actually feels like to him. Now, I do want to be real about something. Smudging with white sage is a sacred practice from indigenous traditions, and the wellness industry has commercialized it in a way that is very large and has caused some real harm, including the overharvesting of white sage on the land where these communities have used it for generations. So I want to say I am thoughtful about where I get my sage and my herbs and what I'm doing when I use it. I try to be as respectful as I possibly can. There are conflicting responses out there on the internet about tribes who say it's okay and we welcome this, and tribes who say it is not. So I will leave that in your own hands, but I will also say that you can honor this and use other herbs that feel right for you. Cedar, rosemary, mugwort, locally grown herbs all work in the same way. And so does actually just turning on a lot of loud music, singing, cooking something really good, and saying to yourself, I'm pushing the bad energy out. That can also work. But I have noticed there's kind of that overlap of burning something and intention that really works for me. You don't necessarily need white sage, you just need the presence and the purpose. Let's move on to something that I teach but doesn't resonate with me. So automatic writing is something where you kind of zone yourself out and allow your hand to write out words in an automatic, almost unconscious state. It's best used when you have a very quiet space around you and you're inviting spirit close to you and you are able to just let your hand flow. I have seen it work for many people, and it really has resonated, especially in the mediumistic space where you're inviting a loved one close to you so that they are using your hand to write. I've seen that work. I find that it can be very helpful for students sometimes who are writers, who love the written word, who sometimes get in their own way. It has just not worked for me. If automatic writing doesn't work for you, that's the point I actually want to make. There's no tool that works right for every single intuitive person. Part of developing your practice is finding what matches how you and your own intuition work and your connection to spirit in general, mediumistically, psychically. Whatever is really working with you, you'll find that tool, but it may take some practice. All right, I might get killed on the internet for this one, but there's a couple of things that I've actually stepped back from. Here is my honest take on charging and cleansing crystals. Now, I am someone who believes in the power of nature and the power of the earth. And so for me, a crystal arrives to this planet exactly how it should. And there are some crystals out there that are actually man-made. But for a minute, let's just concentrate on the crystals that are actually crystals and the ones that come from this earth. They have been in the earth for millions of years, carrying the energy and the pressure of our earth from the ground, from the mountains, and from their geological history of the planet. I'm just curious, what are we cleansing them of? Negative energy, but it's coming from a balanced place in the earth. And to me, that should supersede anything that happened to that rock along the way. I do believe that crystals have real energetic properties, and I think that people's intuitive responses to certain stones are genuinely meaningful. But the ritual economy and rules that are built around charging and cleansing them, the full moon baths, the salt bowls, the whole production, it just feels like it doesn't resonate with me. I actually bought crystals recently from a shop near my house, and they cleansed them for me before handing them to me. And I just stood there going, well, I don't really understand what we're cleansing them from, but it was a very kind thing for them to do, very well intentioned. And I was like, thank you. I appreciate the effort. I do. If you like crystals, hold the ones you're drawn to, put them where it feels right in your house, trust your instinct about the stones and how they belong in your own space. Zero shade for tarot. Please don't kick me off the internet, which I know probably will happen. Tarot is a very complex system with centuries of tradition behind it. And for people who it resonates with, it's extraordinary. I've seen some amazing tarot readings. It's just not mine. It's a very fixed symbolism, and it's a layered traditional meaning, and it feels like everybody has their own interpretation, and there's lots of books and ways to learn the tarot and different ways to interpret it, and it feels very complicated. If you love tarot and you love that language, keep going. If you're deciding between tarot deck, an oracle deck, and a direct connection with spirit, I would work on the direct connection with spirit first. And the best tarot readers I know also have that spiritual connection and get that kind of rich reading from spirit first with a little help from tarot. Let's talk about moon rituals. I want to be really careful here because there's something really genuine about the lunar energy. The moon connected with a feminine side of us all, our cycles to birth and to death, is real, and I have felt it myself, and that it really explains a rhythm of life to me. And those connections are ancient and they are meaningful and they are true. I am not dismissing that. Moon rituals have become a giant commercial ecosystem with kits and journals and monthly subscription boxes. Anytime anything in the spiritual space starts to feel trendy, I pay attention. It usually means someone is selling something. And the thing that really makes me cringe is when it develops into a gatekeeping quality of who's in and who's out, who's authentic, who's premier, who's elevated, and that is not for someone to own. The moon does not need you to buy anything. If a moon ritual really resonates in your body and with your practice, then do them. Light a candle, step outside, be simple. But if you're doing it because you feel like you're supposed to, or this is something that someone told you you had to do, give yourself permission to let that one go. Here's what I want you to take from this. Your spiritual toolkit is your own. No practitioner, including me, gets to tell you what's supposed to be in your toolkit. What works for me because that's how I'm built. From how my intuition communicates and what actually has resonated with my nervous system, the pendulum and its attitude, the prism deck and its one singular word, simplicity. the bay leaf and a number and burning the crap out of it. The best tools are the ones that help you clear the noise and hear yourself better, give you more clarity. I would suggest keep what works, but put down the rest without any type of guilt. If you're still figuring out what your intuition sounds like and feels like, etc., I have a 3-week intuition class starting on August 4th, 2026, where we figure out how your intuition actually starts to communicate with you and then build on the set of skills and the toolkit that works for you. The 4th bonus class is all about spiritual tools. Exactly what I talked about today. We'll talk through a couple of different options and you'll get my guidance as to what would work for you and your own unique ability after we've already spent 3 weeks in class. All information about the class is at connectedintuition.com, and I will put some information in the description below. Give me a comment below on a tool that you've tried that you absolutely love and one where you're just like, not for me. As always, stay open, stay curious, stay connected with Connected Intuition. I'll see you next week.